Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Friday, it is the 21st of November, and this video is for educational purposes only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended, so it's purely to demonstrate how I try to read the market using technical analysis and my experience through 3 decades. So it's the day after a massive sell-off in US that actually started out quite well following Nvidia announcement or earnings announcement Thursday, but that didn't really turn out well. We can see here Nvidia opened quite high, I think 5-8% or something like that, but sellers just took control more or less from the get-go and just sold out through the session, as we can see. So it closed just above the 100 moving average, just in the cloud here, just above the lower part of the cloud, below the rising trend line here, but that's not the key one. The key thing, it's still closed just above. RSI still in a positive sentiment, closed just above 40 threshold. That will be key towards today and going into next week, what will happen there, and especially if it takes out 176 here at so that is a support. It's not the strongest one, but nevertheless we around this level, well, then it could be even uglier than it already is. Other companies that we should look at, stocks we should look at, Tesla closed the gap here. Once again, RSI closed below 40 threshold, so it seems like now we have established a bearish trend, especially if it takes out the lows there from 14th of November at 382. Well, then we have further confirmed the bearish trend, but it seems like we are in for a correction that could take it a bit lower. There will be some supports in the region around these levels here, 351 and down to around 325, where we also have the 200 moving average moving sideways here. So we could see that. However, the 100 moving average will also add a little bit to the support, but that could be, especially if it takes out the lows there, then we are in this fast area here and could drop lower. And let's see some of the other big names, how they were doing. We have Microsoft that already yesterday closed below the support there at 492, following through yesterday after opening just above, but then sold off, and it seems like we are in for more selling here. And you can see aftermarket actually dipped even further to 477. Excuse me. RSI negative, we talked about it before when I talked about Microsoft, so it's actually in a bearish trend already. It was established and supported here, so there's further downside down to around the 200 moving average, where there's some support. Meta didn't really do much other than it's already in a bearish trend, and it's been for quite some time, likely to push lower here. There's not much support. We can add a little bit of support in this region around this gap support here, around 570 and down to around 555. So I think we could revisit this area. So it's a big sell-off we have seen here that could continue. Apple still holding on, but also looks toppish. We have the RSI declining, so we had this bearish candle up here, and what we can also see on the weekly, it looks quite toppish with these long spikes there on the weekly chart. Moving on to the main indices and Nasdaq 100. So yesterday, what we saw, and let's just zoom in on it. Yesterday, we saw market open more or less at the highs, and then just sellers throughout the session took out the support there, took out this support, closed below the cloud, closed below the 100 moving average. We have some support here at 23,969. However, we are in a negative sentiment now, with RSI being below 40 threshold, meaning we have a bearish trend confirmed, established and confirmed. And especially also if it moves back below 23,969, well, then there's room down to around 23,000. To reverse this trend, obviously it has to take out the peak from yesterday, and it's not in the cards at the moment. Here on the weekly, we can see we talked about it a few weeks ago when we had this big bearish engulfing like candle there, and now we have 3 weeks in a row where sell-off has occurred, so quite a heavy there. Pre-market basically unchanged, dancing around the 24,000 level here. And let's have a look at the Nasdaq mini future. You'll see how it's dancing around the 24,000 support area. Could have bounced a little bit today, but again, we are in a bearish trend. Looking at the S&P 500, let's zoom in so we can see a bit more. Close below 6,550 support. Negative sentiment on the RSI is confirmed. A little bit of support there at 6,480, but there's risk down to this area here between 6,200 and 6,400. So we could see it down to that area there. Also Dow Jones quite heavy. Negative sentiment, some support here at 45,470 and 45,000 area. We could see that it would bounce maybe a little bit from there. However, here pre-market, as we can see here on the S&P 500 mini future, while it is testing 6,540 support and the lower part of the cloud, but we are negative sentiment also there. The Russell 2000 index ETF also opened higher, sold out throughout the session, took out the support there, 231. Next one is 226, but we could see it down here in the region around the 220, where we have the 200 moving average, and we could also, and let's just add that to it, in the region around 214, maybe a little bit lower, could be seen here in the coming weeks. So it's a bit unusual for November that we have this bearish market. Usually it's a bit volatile, but usually ends fairly well, but it doesn't seem like it this time. Hang Seng open lower, also below the support here at 25,496, and also negative sentiment, so have a confirmed bearish trend after taking out this. Next one is 24,800. Nikkei dancing around to 48,450, closed below. This is the future, so it's a little bit different, but nevertheless we could see it selling off further, but it's still holding on pretty nicely around the just above the 61.8 retracement there at 48,000 and a change. I think we could see it dipping down to the 786 at 46,796. Europe was, of course, because this occurred more or less after Europe closed. So yes, we opened a little bit higher, shot up here on the EuroStoxx, and then sat back. And so what will it do today? In the aftermarket, or after Europe closed, we had the future and the CFD trading lower. If it will come out here from its hiding, I don't know what, maybe it has hit the my internet connection. I don't know what it is. Sold off throughout the session there apparently, and the 100 moving average being tested yesterday and also this morning. Negative sentiment on the RSI. We could see lower levels also on the EuroStoxx, but I think just to begin with, maybe we will see it a little bit dancing around these 100 moving average, but there could be a potential down to 5,300. I'm not saying we will go there. Let's see about it. But it is uncertain times. DAX already in negative sentiment and bearish trend has been for a little while. Key support here just above the 23,000. And what will it do here in this market? Well, we can see actually it closed below on the CFD / the future yesterday, just below 23,000. Well, what will it do? What will it do today? That could be key to watch, but we are in a bearish range, so don't expect much. Maybe a little bit of buyers profit taking for the sellers. I don't know, but let's see. We are now in this fast area here, so there is not much strong support. I think we will bounce a little bit, but the next couple of weeks could be key. Moving on to the FX market and euro dollar. Let's just resize this and zoom in. Euro dollar bouncing from the 786 retracement at 115. Sorry. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, well, then the lows here at 114.68 is likely to be challenged. I think it will eventually, but a little bit of a bounce here is likely. And what you can do if you're really short-term trader, add a Fibonacci to this and say, well, maybe we could get up to the 38.2, maybe the 50%, or maybe the 61.8 even, just around 116 and then lower. I think we will see 114 fairly soon, but it needs to take out the lows from yesterday. Sterling dollar. Still in this bearish trend, it's been for quite some time. Negative sentiment, no divergence, indicating likely lower levels. And I think if it takes out the lows from yesterday, well, then we will also push below 130 and possibly down to 129.30, 129 area. But a little bit of a correction also going on there. Euro sterling basically sideways after this spike up here, so it needs to find out what it wants to do. I mean, we're still in a bullish trend. There is divergence on the RSI, so it is a little bit stretched at the moment. So it needs to take out this spike up there for further upside potential. So keep an eye on that. If it takes out 87.60, well, then we could be in for further selling. But for now, it's just wait and see what we'll do. Yen pairs looks very toppish, and here early morning in Asia, we have seen dollar yen being sold off a little bit. We could see a correction down to 155 and testing the lower rising trend line there, maybe dipping below to these levels here. However, we are not showing or seeing any sign of divergence, so no uptrend exhaustion. I think it will just be a minor correction, maybe not even this big. We can also measure it from, and I try to measure it from the you noticed I didn't take this one because this is too much noise, this is too much correction for an uptrend. So if we take just the last leg up there, then 38.2 at 155.95, and we have the 61 here just above or just below 155 at 154.75. So a bit of correction, and then I think it will push higher. Euro yen, also a correction after reaching 200% of this correction, 200% of this, so we can remove this one, and a correction down to 179.60 is likely. That's a 38.2 correction, and also here no divergence, indicating we are likely to see higher levels after a correction. Aussie yen, well, that's a little bit opposite to the other yen pairs, or the two other yen pairs. We are still in a bullish trend, but with this spike up there yesterday and also RSI divergence indicating uptrend exhaustion, we could see it setting back a bit. And we also seen that, we'll look at it in a minute, Aussie dollar has been sold off a bit. So I would be fairly cautious here. If it starts taking out the lows there, well, then we could be in for another selling down to at least around the 786 retracement and 99.60, maybe even down to 99, but this one needs to hold. Sterling yen. That's weird how slow it moves this morning. I've never seen this before. How slow it is. Maybe there's a pressure on the servers. I don't know. Sorry about that. We have sterling yen. Sterling yen spiked higher also yesterday, and I think we will be in for a correction, but still in a fairly strong bullish trend. I think we could see it sitting back to around 204, but then I think we'll see it bounce back. However, here we do have divergence, as you can see, this RSI value there lower there than there. So it is indicating also uptrend exhaustion for the sterling yen, but we are still in a bullish trend. As we can see, we are back to these levels here around 2024. Aussie dollar sold off yesterday below the minor support there. massive spike there this morning, but still down here, and negative sentiment. It's been like that for quite some time. We talked about past few days that my money, I'm not invested in Aussie dollar at all in any way, but my money would be on that we will see it pushing lower here in the coming days and weeks. We have the 55 and 100 moving average kind of pushing it down. We are below the 200 moving average, which is also slowly turning around here. So I think we'll see lower levels on Aussie dollar towards 64. The dollar Canada bounce continuing. 786 retracement is a little bit of resistance, as we can see there yesterday and also this morning. However, I think we will push higher. There's no divergence on the R side, which is in a positive sentiment, and now we are back above 60 threshold. I think we will see it towards 142 into next week, unless it takes out 139.70, but we have 55 moving average coming up there, giving some support. Sterling Canada still quite a wide range here. That should be observed. 183 and a quarter and 185.50. Euro Swiss rejected at twice now at the 786 retracement and the 55 moving average here with a spike up there. Kind of a little bit of like a shooting star, but not real one. But still, I think it will slide lower here in the coming week or so, unless it takes out the spike up there from yesterday. But I don't think it will. Still negative sentiment on the R side. I think we will slide back there on Euro Swiss. We have dollar Swiss also spiked up just above the 786 retracement, and I think we'll see it turning around, maybe down to around 80 level. But we are above the cloud, we are above all moving averages, so it could have another go pushing higher. And if it takes out the peak from yesterday at 80.77, well, then we could be looking at 81 plus, 81 and a quarter, and maybe these levels up here. Dollar index spiked higher yesterday, sitting back a little bit, could sit back a bit more, a little bit stressed there at 99.70. Maybe we could see it, but uptrend is intact. However, there's a little bit of divergence, but still uptrend is intact. So I think it will eventually, maybe next week, crawl higher after a little bit of a correction. Moving on to the metals market and precious metals, we have gold that's sliding slowly lower in this region around this 61.8 retracement there at 4,023. If it takes out the lows there from a few days ago at 3,997, well, we are looking at then 3,963, possibly all the way down to 3,886. It needs to take out, and let's just do that, because I think that is the range that we are looking at the moment. So this is the range between 3,997 or 4,133. If breakout will tell the direction for a move. Silver, selling pressure, testing 61.8 retracement of this uptrend there at the moment. I think we could see it sliding back to the 786 retracement there, just around 47.50, and a little bit lower, 47.40, where we have the 55 moving average coming up, giving up some support. So a setback there, and then push higher. Platinum, very close to test the support here at 490. Will it take it out or not? RSI just above 40 threshold. That will be key to watch here the next few days if you're into platinum. If it takes it out, well, then there is down to around 450, 440. 1440, sorry. Copper to the weaker side, just above the 100 and the 55 moving average. Still positive sentiment, but it is to the weaker side, despite the fact that we had this gold cross here with between the 55 and the 200 moving average. But that's on the medium term. There's still a lot of stuff that could, action that can take on the other direction on the short term. So it seems like we are sliding back a little bit. So I think it will hold up here, but the 482 is the key support. On the energy market, we have seen the crude oil WTI crude oil continuing lower. And let's just add this Fibonacci there. I have deleted, don't know why. So we are just at the 786 retracement at the moment, and I think it will continue lower with still negative sentiment on the RSI. No divergence indicating likely lower levels, and I think it will test the previous lows here just around 56.35. We can see also medium term behind a bearish trend. The Brent crude oil, same picture obviously, went through the 61.8 retracement as we can see. Let's just zoom in on that. This morning took out the lows there, and 61.50, the 786 retracement is likely to be reached fairly shortly. Also negative sentiment, and we are in for lower levels on crude oil. On the European nat gas, testing the support here at 30, spot 30 this morning, and if it takes it out, well, then we have to go really far back to see levels like that back here in 2024, so last year, a year and a half ago, where we could have some support. And let's just have a look. We could see some support in the region around just below 28. So there's not much holding it really. US nat gas, and resize it there, still holding out there. So elevated prices, and it could continue. Let's see about that. There is room up to around $495, unless it takes out the lows here from a few days ago at $423. Moving on to the interest and yields markets. US 10-year Treasury yields spiked just up to the 416, 417, strong resistance yesterday, and now sitting back. Support here at 405, so that is still the range to keep an eye on. In the European interest rates market, we have EU 10-year sitting back a little bit after spiking to the 786 retracement there. I think we could see it sitting back a little bit further. What we could also do, we could measure from here to there, and then we have the 38.2 retracement at 265, maybe down to around that. Unless it takes out the 263, then we have reversed the trend. The UK 10 also sitting back, could slide back to 452, 450 maybe even. Japanese 10, after reaching more than 200% of this correction, and there we are now sitting back, and a correction down to around 175 seems in the cards. And then I think we will bounce. I don't think we will move all the way, but we could move all the way down to test the rising trend line there. But I think we will stop around these 175 there. Crypto, and especially Bitcoin, has been sold off heavily here the past couple of weeks, and taking out several stops, paused a couple of times, take out several stops, and there's really not much stopping it until around 74,400 level, these lows here. So not much stopping. It's a free fall at the moment. I think we will see a little bit of correction, but it seems like that's where we're headed at the moment. And it looks really dropping like a stone there. Ethereum not as hard hit. Yes, it stopped here at the minor support at 2,680. We could see it down to around 2400. It's also in a bearish trend, but not as heavy as Bitcoin. All right, that was a long one, but there was a lot of stuff to cover. You have a nice day. Be careful out there, and have a nice weekend, and talk to you again next week.